Hello, and welcome to the Wayfaring Panda. I'm Annette. Today I'm participating in Kendra's Card Challenge number 5. In Kendra's Card Challenge, you use a 6x6 paper pad and use 6 papers from it using her instructions to cut the papers, and you end up making 15 cards in this particular challenge. And I'll leave a link to the information from this challenge. So each piece of paper is shown on the diagram shows you how to cut the paper. I'm starting with the first one, which is the green one, and this is a double-sided paper, which on the front you can see it's a directional paper, so if it doesn't work out I can use the other side also, or if it works better with the patterns. So this is the first time I'm participating in the challenge, and on here it shows the scissors where you should make your first cut. Now I'm using a Fiskars paper cutter, which does show quarters and eighths of inches, so it's easy to get all of these cuts on here, and it has a rotary blade. So I'm just lining them up, and it works better if you put the larger side of the paper away from the cutter, because then it lines up better. So my first cut, it shows to cut off the one strip on the right hand side, and she has it labeled so you can see the width and the length of each piece, so that helps you figure it out. So the first one, I'm cutting a 1.5 inch strip off. Then I cut this strip so that one piece is 2 1/4 inches and the other one's 3 3/4, and then I'm just using paper clips and some post-it notes to keep the pieces for each card separately. Then I'm doing the next horizontal cut, which is 2 3/4 inches over from the left. Then I'm cutting the middle strip at 4 1/4 inch, and the longer strip will go with card 5, and the smaller square one will go with card number 3. The strip that's on the left cut at 5 inches, so there's a 1 inch strip left, and both of these will go with card 1. Then I'm ready for the second piece of paper, and the cutting pattern's this red pattern to use. So again, you start with the right hand strip, and that's going to be a 1.5 inch strip. So I'll cut that, and then I'll cut that into 2 pieces, one being 3.5 inches and one being 2.5. And the shorter one will be for card 4 and the longer one for card 14. And she has those numbers on the diagram so you know which piece goes for which card. Now, I don't think I mentioned this before, but the paper pad I'm using, in case you didn't see, was a Doodebug Designs. It's called So Punny, so it has different puns with food, and it's for Valentine's. So I'm going to use these for Valentine cards for my preschool class. Then again on this one, I've cut the middle strip out next, and once I cut that, it's 1.5 inches wide, and then I'll cut that into a 3 3/4 inch strip and a 2 1/4 inch strip, and the longer one will be for card 2 and the shorter one for card 11. For the last strip, you cut the largest piece at 4 1/4 inch, and that'll be for card 1, and the smaller piece that's left over you cut into 2 rectangles, and those, one will be a square 1 3/4 inch, and the remaining will be 1 1/4 inch. The larger one that's a square will go with card 3, and the smaller piece goes with card 15. Now we're ready for the third piece of paper, and that's the pattern that is in yellow. So you look at that cutting guide, and again it shows you cutting on the right hand side, but 2 strips, so 2 strips over, which is at the 1.5 inch mark. So you cut that down, and then you cut a little piece off the bottom, which is going to be a fishtail banner, and that's a 1/2 inch off, and then off the little piece you cut a little bit off of that, and that's going to be saved for card number 4. And if you watch to the end of the video, you'll see I lost one of my little fishtail banners. I did cut this into a banner, but it must have fell off the card. Then once you get that off, you cut the bigger rectangle in half, so you end up with 2 equal rectangles. They're 3/4 inch wide and 5.5 inch long, and those will be for card number 6. This seems like a lot of work, but you have to remember this is making 15 cards. With the remaining piece, you want to cut it on the horizontal line at 3 3/4, and then this bigger rectangle you'll cut at the 3-inch line, so you end up with a 3 3/4 inch by 3-inch rectangle, and that's for card 3, and then 1.5 inch by 3 3/4, which is for card 2. Now for this last piece, it's easier to cut the strips from the right, which is a 1/2 inch piece, and then a 1.5 inch piece, and then the other remaining one you cut off just a little bit to give you 2 1/8 inch. So, and then those are starting with 15, and then the second one was card 11, and the other one was card 4. Now her directions have all the measurements that you'll need, so it's a lot easier than it sounds. I did watch one of these videos to start with because I didn't know how the cutting worked, and I wanted to see how this challenge worked. And so I decided to give it a try, and hopefully you get inspired to do it. If you like doing quilts, I find this is kind of like doing quilts, although it's easier cutting out paper than fabric. Now we're ready for the fourth piece of paper, and I really like this one. On this side, it has kind of candy on it, like little gummy bears and those ring lollipops and different kinds of candy on it. So this is pretty easy. You just cut down on the right hand side 1 3/4 inch, and then you just cut a little 1/2 inch strip off of that. And the long piece is for card number 8, and the little one is for card 15. For the next one, you just cut 2 1/4 inch off for a piece for card number 7. And it'll be the smaller rectangle that's left over, and the kind of square piece is the one you'll use for the rest of the pieces. For the next cut, you're going to cut horizontal on 2 3/4 to make a larger rectangle, and that's for card 9. And with the smaller strip, you're going to cut off 2 1/2 inch, and that's going to be for card 4. And the remaining piece you're going to also use for card 4 for a fishtail banner. Now we're ready for page 5. 5 and 6 are really easy. So on 5, you just cut off a 1 inch strip off the bottom. And then off that, you're just going to cut off a 1 inch piece off of that for card 4. And the longer strip is for card 13. Then with the remaining part, you're going to cut it into 2 pieces down the horizontal line at 2 1/4 inch and 3 3/4 inch. And the larger piece will be for card 5. And then the other piece you'll cut so that one piece is 3 3/4 and 2 1/4. And the bigger piece is for card 9, and the smaller piece is for card 15. Then we're ready for the last piece, and this actually has like different breakfast stuff on the front, like a toaster and bacon. And this only gets cut into 4 pieces. So you cut on the horizontal, and you cut it so that you have 3 1/2 inch and 2 1/2 inch. The larger piece is on the bottom, and you're just going to cut off a 1 inch strip off that. And the larger piece goes to card 12, and the skinny piece goes to card 14. And the last piece, you're going to cut it 3 7/8. So you have a piece that's 3 7/8 wide and one that's 2 1/8. So it is helpful if your cutter has the 1/8 inch marks. Now these patterns are for A2 size cards. So they're 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. So I'm using these cards that I got for Christmas because they match the paper. And some of these, since they're colored, can serve as the base of the card also as far as the color in the background. But sometimes I use colored cardstock. So on this particular one, I'm going to show you card 1. So the colored parts of the papers that we cut already that matches the pattern. And I'm just using art glitter glue to glue it together. I also like using Nuvo Deluxe glue, but whatever glue that you have. So this is the one that represents the green, and I cut out some pink cardstock. So you will need additional paper. Most of the paper I used was from the 6x6 pad, and then I used about 3 other colors of cardstock. And this paper is the one that represents the red, which was paper 2, and I matted that on pink also. Then I'm putting on this one that represents the green, and I'm putting it also on the pink, but instead of putting it kind of in the middle of the mat, I'm putting it more to the side on the right because I decided those 3 dots they show, I wanted my embellishment to be on the pink because I thought it'd show up better there. And for those 3 dots for the embellishment, I'm using some pretty pink Posh gems, and these are Aquamarine. I don't know if they make those anymore, but I'll link whatever the closest color is. I just used Glossy Accents to glue on my gems. I wasn't sure if the art glitter glue would hold that. Now some glues may, but I wasn't sure, and I found this works really well and it dries clear. The directions have a pattern of how to lay out all the cards. The sentiments and the embellishment are just suggestions. You can use whatever you want. The requirement is that you use the cut pieces, how it indicates that you cut the paper and to lay those out. So I'll show you all the final results instead of showing how to assemble every single card. Okay, I finished all my cards, so I'll go ahead and show you how they turned out. So here is card number 2, and it would have gone this way, but I turned it this way because the pattern of the paper is one direction. And I changed this to a square to match the paper because I used the little different sentiment type things, embellishments that they had in the paper pad, so I didn't have to use other ones. I did stamp some bear stamps on here that I had. And then I also did some enamel drops and some Cool Mint Stickles in the corners. And then here's card number 3. This one I did pretty much the same. Again, I'm mostly using squares and rectangles because that's what's in the paper pack. And then I just added some extra embellishment, and those are the gems that I used in card 1. And then this is card number 4, which was challenging to me because I don't usually do these fishtails, so that taught me how to do that. Learn by doing. So this is pretty much the same exact layout they have here, and I just used this notebook paper that was in the 6x6 paper pad because the point is to try to use up your paper pad. And then I did some more of the gems. And then there's this one. So this one only had one piece of paper and going this way, so I turned it this way. And then I used pattern paper that I hadn't used in my 6x6 pad because I didn't want this just to be a plain color. So this is pretty much a plain color but has different pictures. And then I added a bow to it because I thought it needed a little bit more. And I did use, I think I used my Glossy Accents to try to glue this, but you can see where it was wet. I wasn't really sure what's the best way of gluing ribbon. I don't use ribbon too much. So if you have a good thing that works for securing ribbon, let me know. Okay, and then this is number 6. And so it was, again, you only use these 2 strips. The colored ones are the paper you cut out in the first step. And then the rest of this was just whatever paper you wanted to use. You could use solid colors. Again, I picked out some paper from a 6x6 pad, and then you're supposed to use 1-inch shape for the round. And so I used buttons. They're not really 1 inch, but I only had one that was about 1 inch. So, and I thought this paper looked kind of like fabric. So I thought this went really good together. I love you so much. Now I'm giving these to preschool students, so I'm sure they won't get the puns. Actually, they can't even read, so. But they'll probably appreciate those anyway. Now, on to the next set. Now we're on card number 7. Again, this is showing like you could put it with pattern paper, but this, the blue one, is the one that was actually in the design. And I hadn't used my brad punch thing. This thing, crocodile. Hadn't used that in a long time, so I had trouble getting that lined up. So it should have been over a little bit further, but that's okay. And I popped this part up with some foam strips. And I put some little embellishments on here, and then I used some more paper from the paper pad. So you can definitely get a total 18 out of here by using a 6x6 paper pad. And let's see, this is number D. So you can see I followed this pattern pretty much the same. Again, I used some more of the paper from the paper pad. And this was an embellishment, and so I thought of one of my students that I want to write about. And so it says 10 things I love about you, and then I just put some things there that I like about her. And actually this one, this little girl I made this for, she loves all this kind of blingy stuff. Every time she finds something shiny, she calls it a gem. So I saw that and I thought of her. These were just some different things I got at a scrapbook convention for you just filled up a container. And so those were little buttons I got from that. So you can use buttons. That's another embellishment you can use. This is number 9. So let's see, we're on 7, 8, 9. Here. Oh, I should know that because it's... So again, my paper is directional, so instead of doing it portrait, I did it landscape. And then I added some gems again because I'm using up my gems, and it goes along with this paper. And if I put fancy stuff on one card, I have to do it for all. The kids have to have something blinging on there. Then we're on number 10. Now again, this is an oval, so you could use a die cut and do a stamped image. But I was trying to use all my paper, so that's what I did. You've stolen a piece of my heart. So this paper is probably not available anymore. I did see 12 by 12, but not 6 by 6 online because this is an old paper pack. But Doodebug has lots of these types of sets. So in my description, I will put a link to 6 by 6 paper pads. You can find a lot of these, I know, at scrapbook.com. So this one I did pretty much the same, and again, I didn't use the sentiment this way. I was using sentiments from my paper pad because I wanted to use those up. Then again, I added some more gems. Just one little package of gems lasts forever. And let's see, we're on number 12. This was kind of hard getting into paper to go lined up, so you definitely want to use glue. So don't use tape, because if you use tape it sticks and then you can't pull it up if you didn't position it right. And then this one is the Stickles. I really like this color. This is cool mint. I don't know if the color shows up completely because it's a little bit clear because it's like glue. So it may be hard to tell if it's aqua. So it does pick up the color of the paper also. And it says, I like you a waffle lot. And then I think we're on, let's see, that was number 12. And here we are, number 13. And this one I kept pretty much exactly how it is. These, I don't know what you call them, flat back buttons. I mean, they're not buttons because you can't, there's nowhere to put string, but I guess that's what I call them. Buttons that you can't use. I don't know. So this is pretty much the same, and I just used some pattern paper to go behind the sentiment, and I used buttons instead of gems on that one. And then this one. And so I'm going through there, so you see which card you like the best. That might give you some ideas how to use this. So these two papers were the ones that told, and so then I used teal. And then I used a pattern paper down here, and of course instead of circle I did rectangle again. And 3 more of the gems. I still have a lot of those gems left. And the last one, this one had a lot of small pieces, so it kind of threw me at first because I was like, what? And it's kind of bent. You have to put that under something. Again, I'm giving them preschoolers, so I don't think they're going to care. But it's kind of stacked, and I decided after a bit I wanted to pattern paper because it was kind of plain, I thought. And then looking at it more, I decided it kind of looked like a cake, so I put this like icing and made it like a cake. And then it says, I love you from the bottom of my heart. And I still had, and you can see I still had paper left in my paper pack, and that made 15, but I believe I have 18 students. We've been having COVID. I just finished my quarantine because I had it, mostly a sore throat, but not seriously. But it is preschool, and you know how the Omicron is, so we were getting some new kids because they can't start preschool till they're 3, because this is with a public school. So they have to be 3, and so kind of get them as they turn 3. So we were getting more students, but we had some in and out, and after the holidays, some didn't come back, and it was ever scheduled to come back, and then some left, and then I got sick, so I'm not sure exactly how many students we have at this moment, but I think we have 18. So anyway, so I had leftover, and this was a paper I really liked that I didn't do because it was directional. So similar to the ones I made, but just different looks that you can get. And this was some washi tape. So even though I said this paper is not available anymore as far as the 6x6, you can get in 12x12. I don't know if they have the washi, but I did see stickers. So you could even do these type of things and buy, like, I forget what Doodebug calls theirs, but they have little die cuts that you can put on here, or stickers that you can get, like larger stickers. I think they're called Doodle Pops. They're like 3D stickers. So those are another way you can embellish other than just doing a circle, die cuts with stamped images. That's what I kind of thought of when I looked there, because I usually do stamped cards. I hope this video inspires you to make some cards. If you like the video, please give it a like. I'll leave a link to Kendra's website in the description below in case you'd like to participate in the challenge. This particular challenge goes through the end of March, so you have plenty of time to participate, and there'll be drawings for several prizes. I'll also have a link to some of my other card making videos at the end of this video. If you're not already a subscriber, I'd really appreciate if you can subscribe to my channel. Thank you.